They can take our lives, but they can never take our experience bar. Kia ora and welcome to another episode of Experience Bar, where we're turning video games into cocktails. My name is Jack and I'll be your bartender for this evening, as I show you how to make a drink that's basically the equivalent of a vodka Red Bull for dwarves. The Glyphid Slammer from Deep Rock Galactic. Let's get started. So, the Glyphid Slammer, according to the game files and Deep Rock Galactic, is a equal parts drink made up of cheap, powerful ale and cheap, powerful energy drink. Pretty simple, right? So I went to my supermarket and I got the cheapest, most powerful energy drink and beer that I could find. In this case, it was Demon, because it was 2 for $4. That's $2 a drink. We're gonna fill that up about halfway. This is monstrous. This is absolutely horrible. And next, we're going to use this drink, which I've never had before. Well, not before testing this cocktail out, called Godfather. This is a 8% beer, 8.5? No, 8% beer that is $3.29, that's New Zealand dollars, and you get 500 mils of it. And if you do the quick maths on that, you get a standard drink for less than $1. Dangerous stuff. So, I'm gonna crack this one open. I'm gonna fill it up the rest of the way. And that is the game-accurate version, at least, of the Glyphid Slammer. Looks kind of like just a kind of a light beer. And I'll tell you this, right? It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's not exactly refined, right? And I get it. Dwarves, beer, it doesn't have to be the fanciest thing in the world, but you're basically just adding sugar to a very strong beer. It doesn't taste great, and I reckon we can do better. So, I came up with an improved version of this drink that makes it a little classier, a little bit more interesting, but retains the base ingredients, all 2 of them. I'll show you how to make that now. Right, so for the improved version, you're going to need a shaker filled with ice and 1.5 ounces of bourbon. If you want to keep it strictly dwarvish, you can use Scotch instead. That's whiskey without the E, but I prefer bourbon, and we're using Buffalo Trace in this one. Wild Turkey is also a good choice. We're going to follow that up with 1/2 ounce of lemon juice and 3/4 ounce of energy syrup. Sounds a bit like a brand name, right? Trademark pending. So we've got in here, we've just got equal parts Demon, in this case, or your cheapest, strongest energy drink, and brown sugar. So just put that in a pan, heat it up, mix it up until it combines, and you'll get a nice little kind of thick-ish syrup. Chuck that in. And we're gonna give this a shake. Once you've got that all sorted, you're going to grab your tankard. Now, I have got this filled with ice. That is so that this garnish doesn't float up. Ideally, you're not gonna have ice in here because it can over-dilute the drink when we add our final ingredient. But for us here, for the nice presentation, we're cheating a little bit, okay? You're gonna grab your now freshly shaken Glyphid Slammer and strain it into your tankard. Like I said, if you don't have ice in there, it will probably only come up to about here. Ice adds a lot of volume to a drink. And now we're gonna add our final ingredient, the beer. We aren't using Godfather this time, but we are using a cheap, strong drink, but we're using a lager instead. It's a little bit lighter, it doesn't dominate the drink so much, and it lets the other flavors come through, which is why we've swapped it. This one is still 7%, so it's still pretty hefty. Gonna crack that open and just pour it straight in. Only a little bit of room on this one, but that's fine. It's not supposed to be a dominant flavor. And that is my improved version of the Glyphid Slammer. But these drinks don't come into being without some serious support, so here's to all of our patrons who help make these drinks happen, in particular Jillian Harper today. Cheers for the drink. Okay, so the improved version of the Glyphid Slammer has a lot more depth to it, which seems appropriate for Deep Rock Galactic, right? Instead of just the 2 ingredients of the beer and the energy drink, this has a little bit more going on. Most of all, it misses out on that battery acid taste that you get from basically pure energy drink. It gives it a little bit more subtlety. I know that's a bit weird for a caffeinated beverage to be called subtle, but the flavors do come through a little sprinkle rather than a full in-your-face smash. The NZ Lager as well lets the flavors of the lemon and the bourbon come through a lot more strongly than you would if you were using your standard beer, which would basically just control the entire experience. Overall, it's a nice, refreshing highball. I can't say that it's your standard drink. And by the way, one thing I should mention, when you're adding the beer in, if you want precise measurements, because we have been asked in the past, you should go for about 3.5 ounces of your lager or your beer into this drink. If you're ever making a highball in these kinds of proportions, 3.5 ounces seems to be the sweet spot between the mixer overpowering and the main ingredients being under-diluted. So yeah, that is the Glyphid Slammer from Deep Rock Galactic. Thank you so much for joining me. I've been Jack Stone. This has been Experience Bar. If you'd like to see more of these drinks, let us know in the comments below if you've got any suggestions. And you can also catch us on Reddit and Twitter, and we've got a Discord. And basically, if you've got social media, we are there as well. So we'll leave all the links in the description below. We're creating new content every couple of weeks, so I hope to see you then. But until then, cheers.